Hey guys, so this video is really long overdue, but I am finally making a video about this book. I just recently decided to get into self-development books and I couldn't have picked a better book to start with. I'm not going to use specific examples, I'm not going to use any of her personal stories just to keep this video spoiler free for anyone who may decide to read the book in the future. So I learned a great deal from this book that I can apply to my life. So I'm not going to say every single little point and detail that I learned. I've categorized them into 5 broad topics, I guess, that just made them easier for me to digest and to explain to you. So that's what I'm going to do. So the first thing that really stuck with me is that within all of us, there's hidden treasure, and it's our job to uncover them. We are all walking repositories of buried treasure. I believe this is one of the oldest and most generous tricks the universe plays on us human beings, both for its own amusement and ours. The universe buries strange jewels deep within us all and then stands back to see if we can find them. So when Elizabeth Gilbert refers to creative living, she's only talking about living a life that's driven more strongly by curiosity than by fear. So the second thing that really stuck with me is that you don't need permission and you don't need suffering. Not from the world, not from your friends, not from your parents, not from statistics. A lot of people look for validation through numbers, through how many people see their content, through how many people enjoy their content, and then they use that as permission to continue pursuing whatever they're pursuing. And the truth is, people are different every day. The same person who criticizes your work today could fall in love with it a year from now. And ultimately, people are too busy with their own lives to care about yours for too long. Every failure is only criticized for so long until people go back to caring about themselves more than your failure. So you have the permission to pursue whatever you want. Even if it brings you no success, even if it brings you no money, even if no one else sees it but yourself, it still means something, it's still worth it, and you have the right to pursue it. Another thing that doesn't provide permission for you is the need to be original. Yes, everything has probably been done before, maybe it's been done better, but it's never been done by you. The same topics get explored over and over and over in writing and movies, and the same techniques get used in painting and music, but each new work is something different. If you just do what you want to do and do it with all your heart, share the things that you are driven to share, if it is authentic and if it is you, it will feel original. And the biggest thing about permission is that you don't need it. Just go and create and go after whatever you want, whatever you desire. She also makes a very brilliant part about how people have come to equate creative living with suffering and depression and madness and the starving artist. Some people really think that if they're not suffering and slaving over their work, that it isn't valid and they're not working hard enough, and to me that is absurd. Self-destruction is not commitment. Suffering is not creativity, so stop fetishizing it. Can't say that word. Do not seek out suffering in the name of artistic endeavor. Do not cultivate your pain. It's perfectly okay to take your sad and angry feelings and turn them into beautiful works of art, but those same works of art can come from joy and love. That is an adequate source of art. So my third point is that your fear and your ego may come along for the ride so long as you don't allow either of them to drive. So in terms of fear, I'm actually going to grab the book because she does a really good job of explaining like some phrases that are really just ways that we are afraid. You're afraid to be rejected or criticized or ridiculed or misunderstood. You're afraid there's no market for your creativity and therefore no point in pursuing it. You're afraid you're too old to start. You're afraid you're too young to start. You're afraid of being a one-hit wonder. You're afraid of being a no-hit wonder. You're afraid you don't have the right kind of work, space, or financial freedom or empty hours in which to focus on invention or exploration. And it just goes on and on and on. But basically, you get the point. We're afraid of things. Just like fear, you have to keep your ego in check on both sides because self-absorption comes in many forms. Self-doubt, self-disgust, self-protection, pride, narcissism, and the list goes on. You have to take yourself lightly and keep your ego in check because not everything you create is going to be a big hit or going to garner a lot of attention or even any attention at all. So her main point is that you have to accept that both fear and your ego are going to be present with you throughout all your life endeavors, but it's super important that you don't let them control what you decide or don't decide to do. You must let your curiosities, your interests, your passions, your desires, let those drive you, even if you don't know where they lead. The fourth takeaway from this book, and one of the most important in my opinion, is that the world is not a womb and your work is not your baby. The world is not obliged to be kind to you or your work. You must remember that in a way, once you place your work in someone else's hands and you put it out there, it's no longer yours. Everything about it is theirs. Theirs to interpret and theirs to misinterpret. But on the other hand, their reaction doesn't belong to you. It belongs to their interpretation of your work. So don't make their reaction a part of how you define success. So take your work lightly because it ain't your baby. And if you think of it as so, you won't be able to handle when someone criticizes it or someone tells you that you have to completely change it from its original form. You might not even be comfortable putting it out there at all. If anything, you are its baby. Every project that you work on will expand your imagination, will mature you in some way. The work you make also makes you. So the paradox is that your work must mean everything but nothing at all. Everything to you so that you may pursue it and give it your 100%, but nothing at all so that you don't go insane in the process. So my fifth point, which is kind of the whole culmination of what I got from this book, is that so long as I live, I'm going to pursue whatever interests me. I'm going to chase my fascinations and anything that brings me to life, no matter how disappointing or frustrating it may be. So the question you should ask yourself is not what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? It's what would you do despite knowing that you very well could fail? What do you love more than your own ego, more than your own pride? In the end, this life is temporary, and in the words of Elizabeth Gilbert, I want to live the most vividly decorated temporary life that I can. I don't just mean physically, I mean emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. I don't want to be afraid of the bright colors or new sounds or big love or risky decisions or strange experiences or weird endeavors or sudden changes or even failure. It comes from a place of, hey, why not? Because it's all just temporary. And in the end, this life is all just temporary. So if you don't do the things that you want to do and you don't go after the things that you want to go after, what's the point? That's all I have for you guys today. I hope maybe helped you a little bit, and I hope you decide to read the book. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like, because that'll be nice. And I decided that for the summer, I'm going to make videos every Wednesday, most Sundays, and occasional Fridays. So yeah, that's a pretty solid, not so solid schedule, but whatever. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful, super fantastic, awesome day, night, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and I will catch you next time.